that after.
Well, thank you for being here. And just for the record, you talked about a split decision by the Supreme Court. Split usually means 5-4. This was 6-3. I know, well, yeah, but in any case, just for the record, the two, wouldn't say combatants, but there is certainly a different point of view that's taking place as we see here this morning. And Mr. Youssef, I covered a lot of labor disputes, and at the end of the day, everybody wants a win-win, and it takes some time to reach a compromise with the employer. So I'm curious about, first of all, one thing, the criteria behind random testing. Is it because somebody in a town says he saw somebody who smokes a lot of dope and so on and so forth, and he has that lifestyle, therefore you're going to target that kind of person? Or how does that part work? And the other question is a bigger question. None of us want to have the status quo. So is there a way of a compromise between employer and the union to work something out that maybe doesn't have these words that random testing trumps privacy? I don't think so. But something has to be in place to work out. And I think it's, when you talk about legislators and courts trying to make decisions, surely it's incumbent upon yourselves to work something out too.
Well, we do believe that there is a balanced position, and the courts itself, the Supreme Court, have laid out the three criteria in which they believe employers can, of course, utilize within the context of drug testing, but it can't be simply random. And of course, employers have argued it needs to be random because that's the only way they can have an effective regime within their workplace. We do believe that at the end of the day, what the courts have provided is a balanced position, recognizing the right to privacy and, of course, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And I think for the most part, if the employer was to apply that based on the guidance that the Supreme Court have provided, I think we will not be here arguing about whether or not we need to do anything, because the court's already said there are circumstances in which you can do certain things, and here's what they are, and you should take that as a guidance to proceed.
And Mr. McDonald, if it's okay with you, Senator Munson.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah. Thanks very much, Senator, once again for the question. And my colleague, as much as I love him as well, makes reference to, and by the way, I work for the Irving organization, so the Irving Pulp and Paper case was our case at the end of the day. So I was there. I sat through the Supreme Court of Canada decision, the hearing. I can tell you that although my colleague would continue to refer to that Supreme Court of Canada case as the definitive statement, and there are no other cases really addressing this issue, there are tons of cases, and they're all over the map. And it all depends on the arbitrator that hears the case. The TTC decisions that are coming out of Ontario are very different than what came out of the Supreme Court of Canada. And so one of the things we would say, Senator, is that this highlights the issue, right? We can all spend a whole lot of money arbitrating cases in every jurisdiction in the country and coming out with different results depending on who the arbitrator, depending on who the judge is. Or we could have, like other organizations, other jurisdictions have done, which is legislation so everybody understands the rules and everybody plays by the same rules. So we're in favor of that. And it isn't as straightforward as it may seem from one Supreme Court of Canada case. To go to your question about random testing, how random testing works is actually it's a computer program. It's actually known as Heidi in our circumstance, where your names are put into a hat. It's truly random. So names are put into a computer program. To say it's 100 people, and you're testing at a 10% level, it'll pull out 10 names, and those individuals are tested. If you're testing on a monthly basis, the 100 go back in. You could be chosen 3 times in a row. You could be not chosen at all, right? And so that's how, just so you understand, that's how random testing generally works. It's truly random.
Okay. For the record, the TTC case is an interim decision. It's still proceeding through the system. It's not yet resolved.
Can I clarify one thing on that? Was the TTC situation, Toronto Transit Commission, was that imposed by management, or was it an agreement with the union?
That was imposed by management.
Okay. Okay, moving on.